Cher Antoine, c'est avec une joie profonde que nous, DS Automobile, prenons la plume aujourd'hui pour vous écrire. Nous sommes inlassablement inspirés par les esprits visionnaires et les âmes aventurières, et il nous est difficile de trouver une source d'inspiration aussi riche que la vôtre. Comme vous l'avez si magnifiquement exprimé dans vos œuvres, l'exploration de nouveaux territoires repousse les limites de l'inconnu. Cette soif de nouvelles cultures, cette soif de nouveaux repères, nous conduisent à nous découvrir nous-mêmes. Votre passion pour le ciel, lorsque vous embrassez l'horizon sans crainte, résonne avec notre propre désir de créer des voitures qui permettent aux gens de parcourir le monde avec un sentiment d'émerveillement et de liberté. Votre héritage, célébré par des œuvres emblématiques telles que Le Petit Prince, Citadelle ou encore Courrier Sud, continue de rayonner telle une étoile qui guide notre quête d'innovation et de création. Comme vous, nous explorons de nouveaux horizons avec toujours au cœur ce supplément d'âme qui nous distingue. Grâce à votre sagesse, grâce à votre curiosité et à votre soif d'aventure, vous êtes devenu l'auteur français le plus lu au monde. D'ailleurs, vous faites encore aujourd'hui rayonner la culture de la France. Avec nos automobiles, tout comme vous, avec votre œuvre immense, nous transmettons cette culture et nos savoir-faire uniques. Cher Antoine, c'est une trace universelle que vous nous avez laissée. Avec toute notre admiration, DS Automobile.
Bonjour.
Hello and welcome to each and everyone. Welcome to the Air and Space Museum that I just visited a few minutes ago. And let me tell you something, this is quite extraordinary. And there are other reasons why we picked out this venue. This is the place where Antoine Saint-Exupéry took off when he undertook his first missions for Aerospatiale. The airspace to us was the first French line that delivered mail beyond our borders as early as 1918. And actually, from Le Bourget, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who was a pilot at Aerospatiale, tried to beat the Paris-Saïgon speed record. He made an attempt. Fortunately, the aircraft crashed in 1935 in the Sahara Desert. This was the beginning of his career. This is very important because a few years later, he got inspired by this adventure and published The Little Prince, which was a international renowned book. And now we're talking about planets. Today, they are aligned quite perfectly with the celebration of the 80th anniversary of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry's death and the launching of a tribute collection by DS Automobile. Why such a tribute to Antoine de Saint-Exupéry? To make a long story short, at DS, we do not sell cars. No, we're selling a culture, the French-style traveling culture. We, as automotive salespeople, bet on special series now. That's not color, trims, a name, and a promotional message. This is life cycle animation. DS is the S. And we're selling something else. We're also selling intangibles, because in life cycle animation, you got life. And you also got animation. Animation, that's the soul. The Antoine de Saint-Exupéry collection, we saw this additional soul, which really makes a difference. And this requires intangibles, poetry, connection of shared values. You know, DS intangibles, I mean, I could talk about it day in and day out, but just in a nutshell, there are three main ingredients. First of all, France, culture, the taste for good things, details, and so on and so forth. And when all this is applied to trips and travels, we're talking about refinement technologies, whether for style or comfort. Now, this is the number one thing. Then you also have the vanguard spirit. This is the second intangible parameter. And the 1955 DS was already giving us this direction: design, comfort, and technology. The DS spirit, when you think about it, is the same vanguard spirit which you got in the Concorde, which you're going to be visiting a little later on, the TGV, the Orient Express. Ingredient number 3, the exploration spirit to explore. And this is exactly what we're all sharing with Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Now today, our goal is to celebrate those 2 different universes which were meant to unite, the DS universe and the Antoine de Saint-Exupéry universe. So we need to discover the writer, the pilot, the visionary. We got the great opportunity here to have Monsieur Olivier Daguet, grandnephew of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I'm going to kick it over to you, and thank you for being here with us. Yes, my dear Olivier, just by listening to you, I realized that I'm quite familiar with DS and the entire myth revolving around the brand. And this started in 1955. DS was a pioneer in terms of style and technology, and Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was also a pioneer as a pilot and as an author. And we were able to discover French literature throughout the world thanks to The Little Prince and its worldwide success, with all the hopes and injuries, wounds. His poetry was translated into one universal language, and people read that book regardless of their ages and cultures. Now, just a few words on his culture, on this man. On the 29th of June, 1900, that's when he was born in Lyon, in a very old aristocratic family in France, and he was already described as being a dreamlike person. He wrote poems. He had lots of pep, with great imagination. He kept inventing motors, engines, flying engines, and a sales bicycle, which actually never got off the ground. And his dream was to fly, and with his natural charm, he convinced the pilots to go into a plane. And this was his first flight. He was not really well skilled for schools. It was just too much or too stiff. He is going to focus on being a pilot. Why? Because he wanted freedom, and he was very curious. He wanted to discover new lands and inhabitants. Since those dreams, and he thought that aircraft were going to shorten distances and unite people wherever they lived. He became a pilot at the age of 26 at well, a pioneer company which was actually specialized in mail transport, and he got into this very limited world of heroes with very dangerous missions. At that time, aircraft were not as reliable as today, and when you actually fly over deserts in Africa or southern countries, well, this is unforgiving. He had no fear of his own fear. And since he got bored in stopovers, he wrote, and that's how he developed his literary style, and whereby he's going to be recounting his experiences as a pilot with great sincerity and authenticity. And Southern Mail is going to be recounting this Toulouse-Dakar pilots and their experiences and all the various obstacles they had to overcome in a dramatic way. He was a pioneer as a writer, as a pilot, a well-renowned writer with a whole gamut of literary prizes. He was also fighting for freedom in 1940. He got into the French army. He actually survived. He left to the United States for 2.5 years and rode the Little Prince, and got back into the army in 1943 and joined the Allies, and died on the 31st of July 1944 on a reconnaissance flight, and he never came back. We waited 75 years to solve the mystery around his death. So he was a genius, an author, a pilot, a journalist. He also got involved in movies, a poet, a fighter, and he had a great desire. He wanted to tap into the planet, and not just the planet, because he said we were going to tread Mars. And he had major concerns for the environment and the planet. He was also a visionary. Now, the contradiction with Antoine de Saint-Exupéry as an adventurer and pilot, he was able to withstand extreme conditions, and as a successful author, he also had great taste for elegance and nice things, such as nice luggage, nice bags, watches, comfortable hotel rooms, and nice leather fabrics, cars and airplanes, which were very trendy at the time. So in the 30s, I mean, the 30s fashion was very inherent to him, because this is what we can find in today's DS, and the art to travel, French style, which we all share. This was a characteristic, one of his characteristics. Thank you very much. As Olivia said, we got two Olivias today. I know that this is perhaps a source of confusion, but let's actually remain focused, and I'm sure we're going to make it. As Olivia just told us, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was both a poet and a traveler. And as far as I'm concerned, those two facets resonate with our brand quite strongly. So now, if you're ready to do so, let's actually go on a trip with Marcella Ruggieri. And first and foremost, a great internationally renowned pianist.
Par radio, 6h10, de Toulouse pour Escale, courrier France-Amérique du Sud, quitte Toulouse, 5h45, stop. Un ciel pur comme de l'eau baignait les étoiles et les révélait. Puis c'était la nuit. Le Sahara se dépliait d'une par d'une sous la lune. Sur nos fronts, cette lumière de lampe qui ne livre pas les objets mais les compose, nourrit de matière tendre chaque chose. Sous nos pas assourdis, c'était le luxe d'un sable épais, et nous marchions nu-tête, libérés du poids du soleil. La nuit, cette demeure. comment croire à notre paix? Les vents alizés glissaient sans repos vers le sud. Ils essuyaient la plage avec un bruit de soie. Ce n'étaient plus ces vents d'Europe qui tournent, cèdent. Ils étaient établis sur nous comme sur le rapide en marche. Parfois la nuit, ils nous touchaient si dur que l'on s'appuyait contre eux face au nord, avec le sentiment d'être emporté, de les remonter vers un but obscur. Quelle hâte, quelle inquiétude. Nos plus proches voisins étaient à 700, 1000 kilomètres, pris aussi dans le Sahara comme dans une gangue. Ils gravitaient autour du même fort. Nous les connaissions par leurs surnoms, par leurs manies. Mais il y avait entre nous la même épaisseur de silence qu'entre les planètes habitées.
Bien, bonjour à toutes.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. With Agnès, we are delighted to welcome you here today to have a pleasure and honor of presenting this beautiful collection. It really fascinated us. For development was, well, we did amazing work. We're really proud of our work. We hope you will like it too. You're going to discover it, well, right now. Of course, there's no more beautiful universe than the universe of Saint-Exupéry, both for style, design of this new collection that we're going to introduce today. For me, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry was quite clearly a vanguardist, an explorer of new horizons, an adventurer, an inventor, an engineer. His universe was the world of aviation, and aviation is a source of inspiration, an amazing source of inspiration for us designers, for forms, for body forms, innovation in the materials, sustainable materials, and of course, the issue of making things as light as possible, which is essential for flying, as our Olivier told us. Sorry, Olivier Daguet. Our intention is not just to sell cars, but nor a special series. We want to sell collections. In 2023, our collection was called Esprit de Voyage, Traveling Spirit. This year, it expresses even more force by setting itself in the universe of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who, as we understand, inspires you so much, Antoine. Why this collection? The word collections. It's a reference quite clearly to haute couture. It's the opportunity for us to express our values and illustrate our best know-hows every single year. Every single year, we start from a unique universe as inspiration. We offer an exclusive line to our clients on each of our models. Our annual collections are published on a limited period, which means there are rare models, collector models. This is what our clients want. This collection by collection approach enhances our history and consolidate the historic fame of a DS brand. I'd like to go back in time, if I may, to go back in the history of a brand. These rare, exclusive collections of a natural consequence of a positioning of DS from the right start. I'd like to remind you that DS was born in Paris. It was designed in a small workshop in the 15th quarter. And in 1955, in those days, it already was unique in terms of designs, materials, and technologies, which made it so famous and marked the history of cars. And it was, from 1955, presented as a UFO because of its shape, its design, and its technology. DSs were and still are an icon in the history of automotive industry. And since it's been launched in 2014, you can say that the brand of DS Automobile acquired legitimacy as a premium brand. In only 10 years, we designed a youthful and attractive range with 4 models, DS3, DS4, DS7, DS9, going from segment B to segment D, a complete range, a profitable range, which is based on a presence of a brand in 40 countries and more than 450 DS stores. Please remind us, Thierry, our brand is a matter of ambition, not just style. What makes us so unique is our ambition. It's an ambition which has been our guiding principle since 2014. We wanted to embody the know-how of the French luxury industry in the automotive world. We wanted, quite modestly, to be the Vuitton or the Dior of the automotive industry. To develop this ambition, we based ourselves on 5 pillars. The artistic aspect, it's our universe of inspiration, is art in all its forms. Second pillar, sculptural. We really do work on shapes, surfaces. We work like we're working on a work of art. Just to tell you a short story, you probably know this story. Bertoni was a sculptor originally. So the formal work, the shape of a DS of 1955 is the work of a sculptor. Thirdly, Paris is our inspiration. Paris, capital of luxury. It's a reservoir of creativity, inspiration. The 4th pillar is luxury. That's what we find in materials. The design of the insides of our cars, the quality of confection, the sense of detail pushed to the extreme. And the last pillar, which is very important, is a sensorial experience that the owners of DSs will really feel The insides of our cars are very serene, resting, and they have also a lot of emotional values. Thierry, you're talking about experience. With this Antoine de Saint-Exupéry collection, we are giving unique meaning to our promise of the art of travel, French style, a unique experience for our customers based on the extreme comfort and technology to the service of serenity, and on the other hand, of a unique brand experience thanks to our service program. This leads to a feeling of fulfillment, and this fulfillment is a result of design, colors, and materials and style. So let's go into what qualifies this collection in itself. Every model of this collection has a reference to a literary work by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. You find it on the door of every single car. DS3 is taking inspiration from The Little Prince, which is the book he wrote, which is the most read worldwide, with a quotation on the door. The stars are bright for everyone to be able to find their own one day. For DS4, we have Southern Mail, which is his first flights in Africa with La Découverte, the universe of air mail delivery. These adventurers used to fly across continents to deliver mail, with a beautiful quotations. Stars measure true distances for us. And lastly, The Wisdom of the Sands, Citadel, for DS7. It's a philosophical novel where it's a matter of building an invulnerable barrier with this quotation. It is the exchange between stars and us. It's a path of the exchange between stars and us. And in these 3 DSs, you have 3 many points in common. We worked in a very unique shade, which we call Night Flight. It's a work of alchemy. It's a work with more than 10 components to create this color. We've got a very unique base, orange, then very deep blue pigmentation, which make the colors so deep, a few white particles to add light, and the magical final touch for golden color, which leads to these changing colors, and also sends us back to the starlit sky that was so dear to Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Now, the inside, you have a world of aviation and the codes of a world of aviation for great airmen. So you've got this unique inside ambience, and we'll start with the Criollo levers. This is a clear reference to the leather of the gloves, the jackets and helmets of the airmen, which were weatherproof and were extremely comfortable. And the chocolate color of this Criollo level is very warm. It's Napa leather, very soft to the touch, selected extremely carefully, and it's actually enhanced with the pearl stitch, which is the signature stitch of the DS brands. A very unique detail, very innovative detail that you'll find on a dashboard inside. You have, for the first time, this embroidery technique on a dashboard. This is a stitching done live. It's very fine. It's done with a lot of very passages of a needle. And it's a movement that reminds you of a line left by planes in the sky, and also the sillage of a shooting star. So now let me tell you about another point in common to all the vehicles of this collection. It's the Spitform logo. It's on the inside badges of the vehicles and on the step you step on to go onto the vehicle. It reminds us of the P-38 Lightning, which was Saint-Exupéry's plane. It's the line in the middle, the helix in the middle is the helix of a plane, which was used for guiding travelers and explorers. When you think of a Little Prince, well, you have an image that comes to mind. It's the image of a star, And that's why we integrated it into our graphic universe. From the very start of a graphic conception of his collection, we find it on the inner badges and on the footstep to get into the car. And we've done this work on for reinterpreting and respecting of the original pictures of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know if we said this already, but he was an amazing artist, illustrator. Now we are going to present the 3 cars of a collection. I'm going to give the floor to Agnès, who's going to start with the DS3, the Little Prince. It's the smallest of the DS cars. We feel good in it, like in a little planet, our own little planet, like the Little Prince. It's your car for everyday life. The driver is close to his car, which is quite close to this idea of a Little Prince. We wanted it to be extremely comfortable with well-insulated acoustics and special care brought to the comfort of the seats, which is quite unique for cars in that range. Now, DS4, we've got the reference to the book Southern Flight, where he talks about his flight with the Aéropostale to Dakar. The DS4 is the car that is the most dynamic, it's adventurous, it's nervous, it's responsive, it's comfortable, it's adapted to driving in a city and on the road. To go over back to Olivier's favorite situation, it's not afraid of fear, it's afraid of nothing. It's compact, but it's a road car, so it can be responsive in the city. There's no limits with this car. You can fit into a tiny parking spot, but you can also travel long distances with it. Now let's turn to D7. So let's talk about D7. When you see the D7, you think of the wisdom of Sands, Citadel. It's like a real fortress. It's a status car. You feel safe and comfortable inside it. That's the feeling you get from a DS7. I totally agree with you, Thierry. This is what you feel when you see the DS7. You feel like you are with a vehicle that is amazingly strong. It's impressive. When you see it, it's got authority. It protects the people inside. It dominates the road. It's safe and always comfortable because it's in the DNA of our brand. This is what our customers like so much: power, protection, and comfort. DS7 really is the jewel in the collection. What about the future now? We cannot conclude this conference without telling you about the other main moments for 2024 in our brand. From June on, our customers and future customers will be able to order DS4 in the electric version, 100% electrics. In a month after June, DS Automotive is going to continue accelerating its electrification of its vehicle. It's going to present its first vehicle that comes from the first 100% electric program of Stellantis, developed on the STLA medium. It says everything on a DS brand. It was designed to meet our customers' expectation on what's most important for them. An autonomy of over 700 kilometers by giving more serenity to our customers. Thanks to our amazing level of autonomy, we are going to complete the promise of the DS brand or range, and we confirm our stance. The art of travel, French style. Thank you very much for your attention. I'm giving the floor to Olivier. Thank you, Agnès and Thierry.
Dear Olivier, I got the honor to say that DS3 will be offered to your foundation and will be auctioned off. The profits will be given to the Gustave Roussy Foundation, which is the first French center for against cancer among children. Mr. Metros, our in-house artist, Agnès, And of course, since now I'm talking about artists, hats off to all those who really enlightened this conference with their talent. Marcela Ruggieri, our pianist, the slammer, Fafa Punk, and the dancers, the great dancers we had, Aaron Babin and Romeo Langlois. Now, I would like to conclude with one quote. Now, when I prepared this conference, I got to read a reflection from Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Without a plan, objectives or wishful thinking. Why do I like this quote? Because I'm a manager, and we're now referring to objectives. But there are two different interpretations to this quote. With Saint-Exupéry, you got a great poetic inspiration and a more practical reflection and consideration. Now, this collection will be sold in about 25 different countries. This is the practical aspect, from Europe to Japan. Number two, orders are going to be open as early as tomorrow, the 14th of May, on all three vehicles, all at the same time. And all of the engines, including our new DS3, DS4 hybrid offer. Number 3 point, the timetable, which is going to be displayed. Spain, kickoff in Spain, number 1 tomorrow. And then Netherlands as of the 22nd of May, and all of the GT countries, including France, kickoffs are going to be taking as of the 1st of June. And the very last point, perhaps, let's get our feet off the ground and let's dream a little. A very nice initiative was made by my colleague Bastien, who works for the marketing department, as a tribute to the 80th anniversary. Now, the first 80 buyers are going to be getting a star. Yeah, this is back to poetry. Now, the star will be sent with a certificate with the Star Foundation registry. And each and every one will be able to identify his or her own star in the sky. And the very last point, you may be familiar with my taste with PR and marketing. Now, you are going to be the first ones to see this spot. The first version in French, and the second version in English for our international friends. Enjoy.
Elles ne sont rien que des petites lumières. Pour d'autres qui voyagent, les étoiles sont des guides. Les étoiles sont éclairées afin que chacun puisse un jour retrouver la sienne.
Je suis content que tu sois revenu.
Je ne suis jamais vraiment parti. Nouvelle collection Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.
These stars, for some, they're just little lights. For others who travel, stars are guides. The stars shine so that one day we can find our own again.
It's good to see you again.
It feels like I've never left. DS Collection Antoine de Saint-Exupéry.